Howdy, everyone. Frankie here. New West Reset. There I am. Wow. Well, might as well get the technical difficulties right out of the way, right out of the gates, bud. Anyway, thank you for being here. New West Reset Live, episode 140 here today. Sunday, October the 12th, 2025. Thank you for being here. Thanks for winding down your weekend with yours truly. Really appreciate it as always. Tomorrow's Canadian Thanksgiving, eh? Or as we call it up here, Thanksgiving. But for you guys down in the States, it's Columbus Day.
Bugs Bunny! Who's discovered America?
Okay, Chris, you can have the credit.
So, of course, I gotta have that in there. Anyway, so happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends there, eh? And happy Columbus Day to my American friends. And thanks for being here. So today's show, we're going to do something a little different. This is it's kind of it's apropos. It's very serendipitous. There's a fancy word for a guy. Anyway, very thankful. 2,000 subscribers. So thanks to all of you for all of your support. Really, really appreciate that. Couldn't have done it without you. You're a great bunch, a great group. And, what can I say? Really, really appreciate all of you. A lot of you have been around since day one. Speaking of right out of the gates. So thank you. Special tip of the hat. You know who you are. So thanks for being here. Welcome to all my new friends. And of course, as per usual, links below for everything we're going to cover. How you can get a hold of a guy. And as always, broadcasting live, Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada land, and simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble. So links below for that as well. Thought what we do here first is just have a quick little peekaboo at the official His Story of Canadian Thanksgiving. Then we'll look at a couple of wacky shenanigans in terms of some recent headlines that I found. Buried stuff that's been buried under the mud. And they just, we're fixing this road, and whoopsie, we found this under here. Stuff like that. Then we'll take a quick mid-show break. And when we come back, I will talk about some stuff, including some information on the upcoming meetup. It's locked in. Date, time, where, when, all that stuff. So stay tuned as we get to that in the second half of the show. But for now, thank you for being here. If you haven't already, do all the things. It just, helps a guy out. The algorithm has been kind. So thank you, algorithm. I'm taking a cue from Static in the Attic, who has had success when thanking the algorithm for giving his channel a little bit of a push. So thank you, algorithm, for doing that. If you could continue to do so, that would be super awesome there, eh, bot? Right on. Anyway. So I appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for winding down your weekend on the Sunday Funday Show. So again, thanks to all of you for being here and winding down your weekend here with yours truly. It's chilly. It's 0 degrees Celsius right now and a little bit of a wind. It's been windy the last couple of days. We had rain mixed with snow, and then the rain decided to beat it. So then it was just snow late last night. And wake up this morning to some dusting of snow, but basically when it was hitting the ground, it was melting. If you look on the roof of, you know, a building or two, or on the cars, the windshields and whatnot, yes, a little bit of snow. Not much, just a smidge. It's like 32 degrees Fahrenheit for all my American friends on this fine Columbus Day. So not the best. But it's supposed to warm up. So that, you know, that's good. It's fine. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody in the chat, in the box. Sound off. Sound off like you got a pair. Or whatever. If you're here, say hello. Let me know how you're doing, what you're doing, where you coming from, and all that good stuff. Matt's here. Matthew Carmichael in the box. Good to see you there, bud. Howdy, Baja. Baja is here. Hiya, hippie. Hippie shake. Hippie shake. Hello, hello. Howdy, Kathy. Kathy Broughton from Kentucky. Hello. Good to see you. What else we got here? Tidal! Hey, guy scraping his windshield with the window scraper thing. Tidal's here. Well, put some mittens on. You'll be fine. Anyway, good to see you, Tidal. Hello. Hello. How you doing? DN in the box. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. It's come to the point now where I'm just doing it on purpose. I'm sorry. I'm just having a little fun. Just having a little bit of fun. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? All right, we're having a good time.
Water to the trees here. Good to see you there, bud. How you doing? Channel 50 Tree. What's happening? Scott Pike. How you doing, bud? Scott Pike in the box. Foxy. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends. Happy Columbus Day to my American buddies. There he is, Vincent in the box. Cousin Vinny over here. Frankie Fingers and Cousin Vinny.
So, Tommy, where have you been, huh? I've been watching Newest Reset. Huh? Well, you know, it's Newest Reset. It's this thing on YouTube. He goes around, he does his boots on the ground thing. They'll tell you.
Hello, Sig. Good to see you. So thanks, everyone, for being here. Appreciate it, as always. Hippie's over on the Rumble as well. You know, the Bumble, the green fighting platform. Thank you, Hippie. Appreciate it. Martin's over there as well. Good to see you, Martin. Well, there's a raven outside my window making spooky noises, getting me all geared up for Halloween coming up in a couple of weeks here. Ooh, spooky. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it, as always. And again, thank you once again for all of your support. 2,000 subscribers. Thanks for helping to, you know, share around everything so that, you know, people will be like, what's this guy up in Canada land doing over there on his channel? Howdy, Vaughn. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Well, yeah, I try, right? You know, Monday, Wednesday, Sunday. Nope, not at all. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Where'd Monday come from? The long weekend throws a guy off. Tomorrow's a holiday. It's kind of nice. Actually have the holiday off. Although I don't mind working a holiday, because then you get the time and a half, you know. So yeah, Thanksgiving is kind of a North American thing, but it's a mix of stuff brought over by Europeans, and supposedly also a mix of stuff that we're told not only that, but of Indigenous American Indian and First Nations Canadian peoples, sort of a harvest celebration. So yeah, we'll get into that, but I don't think there's really that sort of thing in down under there in Australia land or New Zealandville there, Hobbitville. Generally, there's some kind of harvest festival. I don't know. It's just an attempt once again to muddy the waters and mush everything together into kind of a cloudy mixture. So you're like, I don't know what's what. So all you can do is really just look on the interwebs or go to the library and check it out and see what you see. Speaking of which, let's have a look at what the Canadian Encyclopedia says about Thanksgiving in Canada land, eh? Why not? If you're watching this after the live, by the way, thank you very much. And I guess a belated happy Thanksgiving / Columbus Day to you. So again, this is the Canadian Encyclopedia, the Canadian Encyclopedia.ca. Link below as per usual. Howdy, Chassis. Chassis Nick's in the box. Good to see you. Talking about Thanksgiving in Canada. Canadian Thanksgiving, eh? So, yeah, here we go. Thanksgiving in Canada. First official annual Thanksgiving in Canada was celebrated November 6th, 1879. However, Indigenous peoples in Canada have a history of celebrating the fall harvest that predates the arrival of European settlers. Sure, same as in the U.S. Sir Martin Frobisher. I say, Sir Martin Frobisher and his crew are credited as the first Europeans to hold a Thanksgiving ceremony in North America in 1578. And here's where things start mixing stuff around and smushing stuff together. They were followed by the inhabitants of New France under Samuel de Champlain in 1606. The feast, featuring the uniquely North American turkey, squash, and pumpkin, was introduced to Nova Scotia by the 1750s. Yeah, what do you know? Loyalists who immigrated to Canada, from the US that is, but British loyalists, right, continue to practice an annual Thanksgiving dinner. It became common across Canada land by the 1870s. But not until 1957 did Thanksgiving was finally proclaimed as an annual event to occur on the second Monday of October. It's official statutory holiday in all provinces and territories except Prince Edward Island. Really? What? Why? New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Really one of the places that it was introduced early on. And it's not even a statutory holiday. Oh, sorry. Origins and history. Okay. Indigenous peoples in North America, a history of holding communal feasts to celebrate the fall harvest. Sure. That predates the arrival of European settlers. Yeah, I can go along with that. The Smithsonian Institute. Please place generous grain of salt on thy tongue. Take this, for what it's worth. Anyways, they've noted that some First Nations sought to ensure a good harvest with dances and rituals. Didn't they do that after planting in the spring to ensure a good harvest? Or maybe they're super preemptive and they're doing it after their fall harvest, but doing the dance for next year's harvest? I don't know. The European settlers brought with them a similar tradition derived from peasant societies. The common symbol of these harvest celebrations was the cornucopia, or horn o' plenty. The cornucopia. Foxy in the box says it's a good time of year for something like that. Not too hot for everybody to be in the house together. Not too cold to escape outside for a smoke. Yeah, sure. and really, if you go by the official history, right? So a lot of these communal dinners, where you'd have, let's say in some hamlet or some agrarian village or whatnot, You might just set it up outdoors, and you'd start with a late lunch and you'd feast until sunset, which is earlier in the evening by then, say 7 p.m. Then you light some bonfires and you have musicians playing the lute or whatever. I don't know. And yeah, you have some dancing. And the indigenous peoples, why would their celebration be any different? Right? Have a big gathering, everybody in their village or their community getting together, having a big feast, be like, whew, that was a lot of hard work, but that sure paid off there, eh, bud? Oh, for sure there, eh? You have some drink and libations. Do a little dancing. Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. I don't know. So again, we have the first Thanksgiving by Europeans in North America, Sir Martin Frobisher and his crew in the Eastern Arctic, 1578. Why is it always in the Arctic? These cockamamie things just pop up. They ate a meal of salt beef, biscuits, and mushy peas. Delicious. I mean, that's very distinctly British, of course. And this was a British ship with a British crew, so that makes sense. I mean, salt beef, that's what you've got. Anyways, to celebrate and give thanks for their safe arrival in what is now Nunavut. Yeah, that's sort of far northeastern Arctic Canada, up near Baffin Island and Greenland and all that, way up there, eh? Way above Quebec there, eh? Celebrated communion and formally expressed their thanks to the ships through the ship's chaplain, Robert Wolfall. According to explorer Richard Collison, Wolfall made unto them a godly sermon, exhorting them especially to be thankful to God for their strange and miraculous deliverance in those so dangerous places. In New France, the winter of 1604-05, a scurvy epidemic decimated the settlement at Ile Sainte-Croix, Isle of the Cross. To prevent this from happening again, Samuel de Champlain founded a series of rotating feasts at Port Royal. They were called the Ordre de Bon Temps, or the Order of Good Cheer or Good Times. Just, it's what it is. It's the order of...
You know what I mean? All right, we're having a good time.
But the French version. Jesse says they already have Christmas out in all the stores. Oh, yeah, the quicker they can jump the gun, for sure. Especially in those high rotation stores like dollar type stores, Dollar Tree, Dollarama, Dollar General, whatever. Where nothing's dollar anymore, but they still keep dollar in the title. But yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, Channel 53 says, I hate the early decorations for Christmas. One of the few things I complain about. Yeah, like let's have, Halloween first. Then maybe let's have, Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, right? November 11th. You got American Thanksgiving. Once you flip that there calendar over to December, and then you can start putting up your bobules and lights. And I mean, that's just, do what you want, but that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's just my opinion. Al is here. Buongiorno. Buonasera. Scusi. Buonasera, Al. Al Triano. Congratulations, 2,000 subs. Thank you. Thank you very much. So again, thanks to all of you. So to prevent this from happening, we're going to have these rotating parties. They were called the Order of the Good Cheer. Local Mi'kmaq families. These are indigenous peoples, the oldest in Canada land. In Nova Scotia, well, primarily, but all over up and down the St. Lawrence and the East Coast of Canada land and the Northeast, the good old US of A. But anyways, local Mi'kmaq families were also invited to attend. First feast was held on the 14th of November, 1606, to celebrate the return of Jean de Biencourt de Poutrincourt. Wow. John of Good Court of the Poutrincourt. I don't know what that word is in French, but anyways, from an expedition. Sorry, it keeps giving me these goofy pictures. Having attended the festivities, Marc Lescarbot remarked they consisted of a feast, a discharge of musketry, and as much noise as could be made by some 50 men, joined by a few Indians whose families were spectators. Let's watch these crazy pale-faced Europeans firing off their muskets into the air. Yee-haw! And then eat turkey and corn, I guess, and cranberries. This was 17 years before what is often recognized as the first American Thanksgiving. Oh, a little bit of a na-na-na-na going in the narrative here. Canadians with our inferiority complex have got to try to one-up our favorite neighbors to the south whenever we get the opportunity, I guess. The Pilgrims' celebration of their first harvest in Massachusetts in 1621. But it was also predated by several similar events in New England colonies by at least 14 years. So the whole Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts Pilgrim thing is a construct, apparently, is what they're saying. It's a nice compacture of the official, probably what happened, springing up at different times over a few decades of a period as relations started to, as the indigenous peoples and the Europeans started to familiarize themselves with one another, right? Great, neat to have old world Mi'kmaq in the box. So you talk about Mi'kmaq, and there you go. That's all you got to do. It's Injun magic. That's what that is.
That's crazy!
Sorry, you know what I'm getting at. It's good to see you. Good to see you as always. Thanks for being here. Happy Thanksgiving, which is kind of it could be a bit of a sore spot with indigenous peoples. Yeah, at first we were all buddies, and then all of a sudden, they just decided, yeah, we're going to grab all this stuff. And, oh, yeah, you were here first, and you don't like us taking it? Well, too bad. It's like, wait, bro, I thought we were friends here, bud. The prototypical Thanksgiving feast featuring the uniquely North American turkey, squash, and pumpkin was introduced in Nova Scotia 1750s. 1763, the citizens of Halifax commemorated the end of the 7 Years' War with the day of Thanksgiving. Loyalists who fled to Canada during the American Revolution brought the celebration with them to other parts of the country. First National Thanksgiving in 1859. Okay, yeah. Behest of the leaders of Protestant clergy. They appropriated the holiday of American Thanksgiving. It was first officially observed in the U.S. in 1777. See, all kinds of different dates and who was first and who wasn't first. Established as a national day of public thanksgiving and prayer there in 1789. So that's when it became a national holiday, 1789. See, you guys got right at it. We waited until the 1950s up here. Just sitting around, drinking coffee and eating donuts, trying to figure out when we're going to have our Thanksgiving there, bud. Became an national holiday, an annual national holiday in 1863. Canada, the holiday was intended for public and solemn recognition of God's mercies. Some citizens objected to this government request, saying it blurred the distinction between church and state. Ooh. First Thanksgiving after Confederation, which was 1867, was on April 5th, 1872. So Confederation was July 1st, 1867 here in Canada. It's when Canada became Canada officially, supposedly. So it was only 5 years after that it was kind of first observed as a national civic holiday rather than a religious one. And it was also held to celebrate the recovery of Prince of Wales, later King Edward VII, from an illness. Oh, okay. First observed annually in Canada, November 6th. So the dates jumps around November, October, depending. They kind of pushed it back to October from November because the weather was still nice, to have a parade and whatnot, a feast. In the 20s, and Thanksgiving Day and Armistice Day, which was introduced in 1919, were celebrated on the same day. Armistice Day later became Remembrance Day and was moved to November 11th. So you're just juggling stuff around. So then Thanksgiving is once again proclaimed annually, second Monday in October. Anyway, it goes on to say why different provinces observe it or don't. It's mostly just because of the name, because of the French thing. It's called Action de Grâce in Quebec, meaning I guess grâce is grace. So Action de Grâce is a call to grace or an observance of grace. However, it's celebrated to a much lesser extent there than the rest of the country. Yeah, the Frenchies aren't big onto the Thanksgiving either. Holiday's Protestant origins and its strong association with British nationalism tended to alienate Catholic French Canadians. So see a little bit of alienation between Canada and the US with the discrepancy of who observed it first, but then you got to split it the other way too between English and French, right? Got to keep everybody divided all the time. Even if we're just fighting over something stupid as when you could sit down and have some turkey with family and loved ones and just be thankful. Sherry Ives in the box. Good to see you, Sherry. Hello, hello. Sandra's here as well. Sandra Marr. Main difference among other provinces tend to concern the dishes that are served. Yeah, so it's not so much the date and the people getting together. It's just what you eat. In Newfoundland, Jig's dinner. Oh my, what an unfortunate name. A salt meat stew derived from Ireland. It's often preferred over turkey. Scalloped potatoes are preferred over mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce is used instead of gravy. Say what now? I mean, scalloped potatoes are good, I'm not going to lie, but preferred over mashed potatoes and gravy? Okay. In Western Canada, ham is sometimes served with or instead of turkey. Yeah. And Brussels sprouts are popular. Sure, whatever you want for veg, man, whatever's in season. Many ethnic groups will often include some of their traditional dishes.
That's racist!
For example, pierogies and cabbage rolls are Thanksgiving staples for many Ukrainian Canadians. Indigenous people, some of whom see Thanksgiving as a celebration of indigenous foods, turkey, squash, corn, cranberries, that predate colonial settlement, will typically serve a side of bannock. It's a sort of a bread type of thing, if I'm not mistaken. It's like hardtack, sort of, but not as hard as hardtack. Yeah, I mean, usually you're going to make about 3 different kinds of taters for your meal anyways, Thanksgiving or whatever the big feast is, right? And again, I'm poking fun at the narrative here a little bit and what have you, but there's nothing wrong with getting together and having a nice meal with loved ones. It's not what I'm poking fun at all. I think that's important. So yeah, we would often have ham and turkey. A couple of different kinds of potatoes, a couple of different kinds of vegetables, and a couple of different kinds of pie too, And we'd have gravy for the mashed potatoes, but then we'd also have the cranberry sauce. You got to have the cranberries. The real regional differences around Thanksgiving Canada tend to concern the dessert. Pumpkin pie is still a staple in most of the country. People in Quebec and Atlantic Canada tend to prefer apple pie or apple crisp. Pie of choice is often accompanied by different desserts in different regions. People in Ontario love the butter tarts. It's like a pecan pie, but in a little tartlet. Like a sugar pie, little tarts of sugar pie, you know. While people out west favor Nanaimo bars. That's sort of a layered chocolate fudge with, I don't know, a whipped nougat in the center, topped with a thin layer of chocolate frosting. It's hard to explain. It's not really how it's cracked up to be quite honest with you. It's pretty sweet. Some have argued that the ceremony of giving thanks celebrated by Sir Martin Frobisher was not a real Thanksgiving. See, a little bit more of the na-na-na-na-na. We did it first. The argument stems from the reason that giving thanks, the holiday, can only be associated with the celebrating of the harvest. Europeans who brought the tradition to North America did mark the day by giving thanks for a successful harvest. However, the Canadian and American holidays are no longer restricted to harvest activities. Thanksgiving has become a day for gathering family to give thanks for their yada, 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 yada. And it's come full circle, yeah. So they're saying because he was giving thanks for them not getting, unalived, exploring the Arctic, that doesn't count as a real Thanksgiving because it's not harvest related. So, yeah, there you go. Link below for that wacky nonsense, which for a change is not from the Wikipedia. It's from the Canadian Encyclopedia.ca. What'd you think of that? Sherry says, I want food. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you talk about delicious, large meals such as that, then, yeah, all of a sudden start getting a little hungry, right? Oh, I love the pumpkin pie. See, back in the day, not so much now, because I'm kind of, I'm in my 50s and my parents are kind of on in years. My sister and brother-in-law live in a town about almost 2 hours from me, and my nieces live, at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half from me. So it's basically just me and my roommates here in our place, right? So we tend not to have a big deal Thanksgiving. We might have a roast beef with some mashed potatoes and gravy or something. I did buy a couple of big turkey leg drumsticks, though, so that's on the menu for tomorrow with some potatoes and a pumpkin pie. But back in the day, my mom or my grandma, depending on who was playing hostess at whose house, for whether it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter's, whatever, there'd be at least 6 different kinds of, there's 6 pies, then at least 3 or 4 different kinds. You have pumpkin, apple, usually some kind of berry, blueberry or strawberry or rhubarb, usually some kind of cream pie, banana cream, or key lime or lemon pie, something like that, right? It was crazy, man. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And because my paternal grandmother is French Canadian but has Italian in her too, oh man, forget about it. And then my maternal grandma, my nana, she loved the roast beef or the roast goose. So instead of the turkey, the European way, especially the British way or the UK way, is a roast goose for like a harvest feast or Christmas or what have you. So sometimes you end up having ham, turkey, and goose. And then my auntie married my Uncle Mike, who's Greek. So now you got the Greek food in there too, with the fish and the Greek salad and the domatas, that's the vine leaves stuffed with seasoning and rice, and sometimes a little bit of beef. Then you get all the Greek desserts. Come on, man, get out of here. Get out of here, man. It was crazy. It was crazy. Good times. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? You know what it looked like? It ended up looking like something like this. If you get the French Canadian / Italian grandma with the British nana and then the Greek grandma, all there preparing the feast. This is what you get. So, that's that's how it was back in the day. Usually at Grandma and Granddad's little farm because the kitchen was way, way, way bigger. So it was just a madhouse. And when us kids running around, it was crazy. It was crazy. Channel 53 says 100% how loud ours is without the fighting. Yeah, there's really no arguing or fighting per se. Just a lot of screaming and yelling, hollering. Like, why are you hollering? Scott Bike says nonsense. Water the Tree says, I feel like I'm going to be 600 pounds after this chat. Back in the day, they were fancy. Now it's just once in a while, Again, now you got to try to think, what's something you can make for 2 people instead of 22 people? Yeah, biscuits and gravy. That's right. Over here, we call biscuits. They're like a how do I explain it to people in the UK? Because when you say biscuits, they think what we call cookies. Cookies are biscuits across the pond. So they think we're putting gravy on cookies over here. No, we're not taking Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies and putting gravy. Biscuits are like they're like a savory scone, like a butter tea scone. Very hard to explain. They're made basically flour, water, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of sodium bicarbonate, a little bit of baking soda. You just bake them in the oven. Put a little butter in them. Mix up your dough. Throw them in the oven. Pour gravy on those things. Come on, man. Come on, man. Or you put molasses, sweet molasses on them. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, dressing, stuffing in the turkey. Maybe you do a turducken. I don't know. It's a stuffed chicken that's shoved inside a duck that's shoved inside a turkey or something. I don't know. It's horrific, but delicious. Sort of like an unsweetened scone, yeah, but it's buttery. It's buttery, and yeah. You roll out your dough and you get something round and you just stamp out, boom, 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 and you make a bunch of, and the biscuits rise and they're really flaky, layered, and they're buttery. You pour gravy over that. It's the North American version of Yorkshire pudding. There you go. But yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, like quick bread, sort of. Yeah. Yeah, you can use a Bisquick or some kind of premix, but they're not that hard to make. You make them from scratch. And let me tell you something. If instead of putting them in the oven, if you kind of roll them up into a smaller sort of balls and you throw them in simmering chicken broth, they make these kind of doughy dumpling kind of things. Pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, what are we looking at here? 41 minutes, eh? 41 minutes, eh? All right, let's have a look at some of the stuff that's popped up in my news feed lately. And I thought, I'm gonna have to put a pin in that. Remember to share that. Roth Rods in the box. Howdy, bud. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Yeah, there you go. That's all you need to do. Roll your balls and throw them in simmering chicken broth to make dumpling things. That's the you are exactly right. That's absolutely correct. It doesn't get much easier than that. It's absolutely correct. Oh man.
I'm wetting my jockeys here.
Anyway, this is from earth.com. This came up when I was just messing around on my phone, and I was like, wait, what's this? What? Huh. So I just, kind of put a pin in the link here, and earth.com. Secret chamber from 1847 has been discovered beneath the National Mall in Washington, D.C. in the United States of America on this Columbus Day show, this Canadian Thanksgiving show. Crews renovating the Smithsonian Castle. Again, take a very generous hunk of salt and insert it in your eating hole and swallow it so it goes down your food tube into your tummy sack. Crews renovating the Smithsonian Castle cracked open a piece of early Washington's infrastructure and the opening to a hidden tunnel that was hidden in plain sight just under Jefferson Drive. The find is a round cistern built in 1847, sealed for more than a century, and sitting just steps from one of the most visited museum campuses on Earth. Archaeology rarely interrupts road work, but this time it did. And it did so with style. Workers expecting utility lines, not a perfectly lined brick shaft, dropping about 30 feet into the ground. Look at this. And then another layer of brick here, and something over that still. So they're mucking around here, and what's this down in here? Oh, hello. And then, of course, they always say, it's cistern or sewer, or I don't know. It was from the Prohibition, or it's from the Underground Railroads. Maybe they were smuggling Chinese workers for the Transcontinental Railway. They roll the dice or throw darts at a board of cockamamie reasons for these things, but I doubt it's what they say it is. But anyways, it's my conjecture. Let's move on here. The chamber measures about 9 feet across, 30 feet deep, appears to have been a rainwater storage system that never held treasure, only runoff. Structure sat dry when crews opened it. Fits the idea that it had been sealed for more than 120 years. Its brick walls look smooth and intentional. Of course, when you can accidentally build a arched brick underground structure, it was probably above ground at one time. Anyway, built for a specific job and then forgotten as the city modernized. Yeah, it's intentionally forgotten. There's a few places where the few people might have access to what it's all about, perhaps, but it's forcibly forgotten. It's been purposely removed from people's recent memory, and it takes a generation, maybe two, and then, we didn't know that was down there. Yeah, Kathy Broughton says all kinds of shenanigans under the Smithsonian. Jesse Nick saying, I swear I'm having deja vu with this live. Really? Giving you the heebie-jeebies. Again, getting you riled up for a couple of weeks here for the Halloween live stream, which won't be on Halloween. It'll be on the 26th, but, giving you the oogly booglies. Also, Chassis mentioning, I've noticed this past week they've been, quote, uncovering, unquote, a lot of things and posting it in the news. Foxy says, me too. So does Sherry. Yeah. Yeah, there was a couple of other ones, but they were more in places that you might, quote unquote, expect to see, new time frames built upon more ancient structures, like over in the Middle East or in the old world, or, I do have one here from, I think, England, but even that one sounds dodgy. Sadly, no national treasures or secret symbols were recovered. Ha. See how they try to sort of tongue-in-cheek take the piss a little bit and kind of try to make fun of it in a sort of a passive-aggressive type of way. Oh, you conspiracy theorists. There's no national treasure or secret symbols under here in Washington. That's the National Park Service wrote that in a public post. Oh, you're so funny. Trying to go with that whole National Treasure movies there with Nick Cage, which, I'm not going to lie, I dig those movies. Nicolas Cage is crazy. Anyway, the castle opened in the mid 1800s when piped municipal water was not a given. A cistern stored rainwater for cleaning, basic maintenance, and other practical uses around the building. Builders often designed these systems to be simple, durable, and close to where water was needed. Gravity did most of the work, and brick was the go-to material for strength and ease of repair. The decision to place a reservoir under a service road made sense. Maintenance access stayed easy, and the infrastructure did not interrupt foot traffic during the building's formal entrances, or around the building's formal entrances, excuse me. So then why did everybody forget about it then, if it just made everything so easy to service it? You just stopped servicing it after a while? Over time, the system fell out of use as modern water and sewer lines took over. The old shaft was capped. The road stayed busy, and the city above it kept moving. Let me get into, there's rumors, talk of hidden archives, secret tunnels under National Mall has circulated for years. Most of it is rumor. Not all of it, mind you. Just most of it.
I don't believe you.
Yet parts of the underground scene are very real and very practical. There's documented staff-only tunnel linking the Arts and Industries building and the castle, built to carry utilities and allow people to pass between them, according to the Smithsonian Archives record. Can't believe much the Smithsonian says, in my opinion, but it's just me. South Yard beneath the Enid A. Haupt Garden holds the underground National Museum of African Art, the Arthur M. Sackler Gallery, and the S. Dillon Ripley Center. Sure, okay. Staff-only passageways make sense for operation. Sure, they always chalk that up too. Why is there a series of tunnels connecting these hotels that are 2 blocks from each other? Well, that's so the staff can go from one structure to the other. So what happens to the cistern next? So now they're going to document everything and seal it back up. They'll fill the shaft with a reversible material to remove the hazard while preserving as much as possible. They're going to fill the shaft with a reversible material to remove the hazard while preserving as much as possible. I'm not really sure what that means exactly. It seems very vague to me, but okay. Anyway, link below for that cockamamie bunch of shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
At least in my opinion. Where's the other one here that I found? National Mall, and what was the other one? Here we go. This is from, again, wow, going with the theme here. This is from SmithsonianMagazine.com. So for the third time now, not once, not twice, but thrice. Grain of salt. Take it. Lick it. Yeah. Lick that grain of salt. It's Smithsonian after all. Archaeologists find both a medieval dungeon and a Roman burial beneath Market Square in England. They couldn't decide how they could pull the wool over and invent a goofy story for it. Couldn't decide between a dungeon and a Roman remains, so it's both. It's probably because it's one built on top of another, and then all of this is built on top of that. Leicester, is that how you say that? Leicester Market has hosted vendors for some 8 centuries. So again, most likely doing road work. Let's see. Beneath the city square in the English city of Leicester, archaeologists have discovered a Roman infant burial. Oh my, that's terrible. Remnants of medieval commerce and a 16th century civic building's foundations. If you say so. Experts think the latter is bygone Gainsborough Chamber, which was first recorded in the 1500s and home to a dungeon, once described as a most vile prison. Sheesh. Yeah, ain't that always the way it goes? Someday they're going to find dinosaur remains chassis. It's going to be one or the other. It's not a cistern or some old foundations. It's their dead dinosaur bones. Stephanie's here. Babylon Fox in the box. Hello, hello. A team of researchers from University of Leicester Archaeological Services. Oh, yeah, good old ULAS, of course. Has been excavating Leicester Market since July, after the city tore it up for renovation. Well, if you're tearing it up, you're not really renovating it, are you? You're taking it away, destroying it, and then put something new there. It's not what I would describe as a renovation, but The market has been a hub of commerce and community in central England for centuries. Oh, here's a quick fact, everybody. Brace yourself. The earliest reference to Leicester Market is from 1298, though it may predate that. Queen Elizabeth I also wrote about it in 1589. Found all sorts of archaeology that date back all the way to when Leicester was a Roman town. Excavation leader Gavin Speed tells BBC, the BBC, again, some salt required, a pinch of it, take a grain of it. We found evidence for the very first market as well, and perhaps remarkably, we've also found a large stone medieval building. This building contained a mayor's office on the upper floor, contained shops below, and below ground we found evidence for a medieval dungeon. How do they know it was a mayor's office? And that it was on the upper floor? If it's, some medieval building. Medieval period is, back in the day, if we go by what they tell us, right? I don't know, maybe it's me, but I'm just not picking up what they're laying down. I don't know. According to a statement from good old ULAS, Gainsborough Chamber was a high-status civic building which hosted judicial proceedings, political businesses, feasts, and parties. It's visible in a 1741 map of Leicester Market, per report by City Council, but it was demolished around 1748. Researchers excavated what they believe are the chamber's thick stone walls. It's used as a prison and court of justice as early as the reign of Henry VII in the late 1400s. One Parliament's servant was held in Gainsborough's jail during the reign of Queen Mary I. Of his experience, the servant wrote, "Immediately, as we were come to Leicester, Master Mayor sent me forthwith to a most vile prison called the Gainsborough, then offered to put gyves and fetters upon my legs, and so to lie upon hard planks without bed or straw, and wind, and without company or comfort." Sounds terrible. Probably shouldn't have done bad stuff. Just saying. Old World, Michigan is here. Good to see you, bud. Hello, hello. The archaeologists extracted thick layers of soil from below Leicester's Market medieval layer, dating to the Anglo-Saxon period, between the 5th and 11th centuries. It's a pretty big window there, bud, but okay. Researchers will analyze the soil samples to understand more about it. What can you analyze? There's some 600-year-old worm poop. Romans invaded Britain in 43 CE. What is that again? Common Era? 43. So that should be AD then. 43 AD, right? Because, of course, they have to change this too. Anyways, and they settled Leicester soon after, transforming it into an organized town. Researchers had anticipated uncovering Roman artifacts during the excavation, as Leicester Market lies within the borders of Roman Leicester. But as Speed says, the team's Roman discoveries in Leicester Market have surpassed our expectations. 2 Roman buildings. One was timber. Burial of an infant. Yikes. Second was a Roman building made of stone, constructed atop the site of a timber house. So they built stone on top of wood instead of wood on top of stone? Is that what you're telling me? Okay. Researchers also found Roman pottery, coins, jewelry, and tesserae. I'm not sure what that means. Tesserae cubes of stone used to make mosaics. Oh, okay. Commerce in Roman Leicester was booming. They've underlined it. By the late 13th century, according to the University of Leicester, but the town began declining in the 4th century, as did the Roman Empire. So going way back, apparently. 800 years market activity. Yeah, okay. So the market will be rebuilt by the end of 2026, says Leicester Mayor Peter Soulsby in the statement. Before the market squares paved in porphyry? I'm not sure what porphyry means. For the future, it's important that we take the opportunity to learn as much as we can about its past. So they're going to document everything for themselves and pave over it to preserve it. Fantastic. Good job there, bud. Good job with that. Yeesh. Anyway, where are we at here? 1 hour. Perfect. Mid-show break time. If you're new to the channel, or as a reminder, if you've been around for a while, every Wednesday I upload a vintage footage video. I try to keep it Canadian content, you know. I throw some music in with it. And that goes up every Wednesday as a vintage footage video. Friday's boots on the ground. And then Sunday, the live show. So every Sunday I give you a sneak peek at your upcoming midweek. This one's a nice one. It's a good one. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Put your ear goggles on. Turn it up to 11 there, eh, bud? This is footage of German airship, 1919. About 5.5 minutes long-ish, give or take. And yeah, it's a nice one. German airship, 1919. Stick around. Be right back. When we come back, we'll have a look at the meetup announcement. where we will be meeting up, and we'll have a look at that neighborhood itself a little bit, on the goggle machine. So, yeah, stick around. Be right back. Cheers.
Four men in a rock and roll band. Fly at night, in the morning we land. Fly at night till we're satisfied. See the morning from the other side. And when you close your eyes, sleep comes fast. When you fly the universe, well, you need some rest. Yeah, you need some rest. Ooh, we like the big wide spaces. Yeah, we like a sea of faces. Time is just a rubber band. Time is at our command. And when we look out and see it there, you see much closer and you feel so near. Yeah, you feel so near. When we fly by night, it's like a rocket flight, and baby, that's just what it's for. Yeah, we fly by night, it makes you feel alright. You keep coming back for more. When we fly by night, it's like a rocket flight, and baby, that's just what it's for. We fly by night, it makes you feel alright. You keep coming back for more. night till Rossetti is fine. See the morning from the other side.
All right, there we go. And we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Howdy. Frankie here, New West Reset. New West Reset live episode 140. Thank you very much for shooting in, joining me here for another live one. Appreciate that very, very much. Canadian Thanksgiving up here. Actually, well, technically tomorrow. Columbus Day in the U.S. tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Columbus Day. Also very, very thankful being Canadian and being Canadian Thanksgiving there, eh? Very, very thankful to all of you. A big shout out to all of you for all of your support. 2,000 subscribers. Going to have a quick Q&A coming up here toward the end of the show. Also going to make an announcement regarding the meetup, the who, what, where, when, why, what, huh, eh, and all of that. So stay tuned for that coming up here. If you haven't already, please do all the things just to help push the fella out into the algorithm there a little bit. Thank you, algorithm, for suggesting my channel to some new viewers. Got some new friends here on the channel recently. So thank you very, very much. Supposedly that might work. I don't know. Couldn't hurt. How's everyone doing? What'd you think of that? Huh? Make airships great again. Yeah, no kidding. There you go. Nice. Vincent says, I'd forgotten this good old song. Yes. Chilliwack. Chilliwack. Thank you, Hippie. Hippie Shakes his brilliant footage. Spoon clicking. A little spoon clicking. Curtis is here. Howdy, Curtis. Good to see you. Rocking and rolling. Yeah, everybody dressed to the nines. Well, that's how you travel. You travel in style, you know. Yes, that cigar-shaped Goodyear blimp style. But these were rigid. There was bladders within the rigid skeletal structure that they would inflate, but there was all kinds of compartments within that balloon portion as well. Dining lounges. They had, heck, some of them had bathrooms and a galley kitchen. Serve you your meal there. They're prepared in the kitchen. It's crazy. Crazy. So thank you very much for joining me here. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate that. Awesome video. Says Babylon Fox. Babylon Fox in the box. Cousin Vinny is here. Melted Syracuse, New York. Good to see you. Channel 53 and Water the Tree are here. Kathy Broughton. Hello, hello. Good to see all of you. As mentioned, Hippie Shake is here as well. Sig is here. Appreciate all of you. Yes, thank you very much, Hippie. Links below for everything, including, if you're so generous and feel you like to donate to the channel. PayPal link below. It's certainly not necessary, but greatly, greatly appreciated. Heck, if you make a donation, I'll send you a t-shirt. Let me just show you what I got here for t-shirts and whatnot. You share your address. Let me know what size you wear and which one you prefer. The Shenanigans or the original, the OG black t-shirt. Socks are, that's It's from a prize pack that I gave away a couple of weeks back when I premiered live here on the channel my documentary film Reset 1700. I awarded two of those, both sent out. One has been, well, actually, I think both have been received. Yes. Donation was made from Holistic Media as well. So a prize pack was sent their way over in the UK. I think Kathy got a pair of socks recently. Cousin Vinny, Frankie, I have a question. Yeah, shoot. Anyway, so yeah, your choice. Just let me know which one of the two t-shirts, and I'll what size and what have you. And don't worry, I ain't gonna dox you or nothing, eh? Speaking of merch, by the way, been kicking around this idea for a while, and I finally got her locked in. Again, if you're new to the channel, I throw around the term schmutz a lot, where it's they've smeared some kind of stucco or thin set or cement or concrete or whatever over the existing more ancient foundation or substructure that they've built on top of salvage building, a founded or found building after some kind of cataclysm, a mud flood or what have you. They try to hide it by smearing it with what I call schmutz. Kicking around the idea for a while now of some kind of merch that has schmutz on it, and I came up with a baseball cap with a play on the Schlitz beer logo. So I went to the printers and a couple of days ago and having baseball hats with these, the badge logo of schmutz on the ball cap. So keep your ocular sphericals locked onto the channel here for announcements as to when that's coming out. And again, as a reminder, I do not have a merch store. I have a bunch of these made up, and I give them away as a thank you for your support if you were kind enough to donate to PayPal, or if you do a lot of support behind the scenes, like Kathy does, and Hippie Shake. Or if there's a meetup, I will bring t-shirts and merch with me to hand out to anybody who's kind enough to join me for a meetup mudflood walkabout. Speaking of which, that is coming up, and it is going to be a week from today. So next Sunday, if you're watching us live, it's current time here, it's Sunday, just 6:15 p.m. Mountain Time here in Canada land, but next Sunday, October the 19th at noon, at high noon, weather forecast is supposed to be fairly pleasant, sunny and warm-ish, somewhere around plus 10 Celsius or around 52, 55-ish Fahrenheit, somewhere in there. So if you're local or if you're going to be in the Calgary area, Sunday, October the 19th, I would like to join me for a mudflood walkabout tour. I would love to have you. We'll grab a coffee. We'll walk around. We'll look at some stuff. I'll take some video. We'll grab a bite to eat. It's on me. We'll have a good time. Okay. Hippie Shake likes the schmutz hat. There you go. Yeah, the Shenanigans supervisor shirts. Those are pretty good. Babylon Fox says schmutz is my favorite term. There you go. Well, you have it. Vaughn wants to know when the New West Reset beaver pelt top hats are coming. Oh, wow. There you go. Hey, could you imagine? Can you imagine? Good. Excellent. They're pretty comfy, They're nice, They got the clock logo on them, Got this on them. So that's kind of neat, right? But yeah, I finally, I'm like, I got to get these hats made, man. Cousin Vinny says, I'm in. You can't buy, though. You did last time. It's not your turn. Are there beavers in the Bow River? You live close by. There are beavers in the Bow River and in the Elbow River. I could go beaver trapping. That's right. Get me some beaver traps and set me a couple of traps there. Nice trap line there along the shores there amongst the trees. Beavers like to waller around in the mud there. And I don't know where that voice came from. Anyways, yeah, I would love for you to join me. And it's a good time. We do a fair bit of walking now, though. So just make sure that you get yourself some good shoes. I'm going downtown. And I'm gonna buy me some new shoes. Anyways, enough monkeying around here. Thank you very much for joining me for the second half of the live show. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, do all the things. If you're watching this after the live, thank you very much for all of your support. I really appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who's already subscribed and shared everything. Doing all the things. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, not sandals. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Sneakers, running shoes, cross trainers, tennis shoes, whatever you want to call it. Urban track shoes. Is that a thing? I don't think so. Maybe. Yeah, not Crocs. No. I mean, we're not going to be climbing any mountains or anything. It's going to be, an urban walkabout in a neighborhood, but still, yeah. Whatever you would wear to the gym, that's what you wear. Anyway, speaking of the meetup, let's have a look at where we're going to be meeting. We already mentioned the when. Next Sunday, October the 19th, at high noon. Going to be meeting to have a mudflood walkabout tour of the neighborhood of Kensington. So I thought real quick, before we get too deep into it, let's just Kensington. Why Kensington, Frankie? Well, let's look on the Wacky here, on the Wikipedia, on the Goggle machine, because it's there. I thought to myself, huh. Kensington in Calgary. Kensington is a business revitalization zone. Oh yeah, the Breeze in Calgary, Alberta. Focused around the intersections of Kensington Road and 10th Street Northwest, also known as the Kensington Louise Crossing Business Association. It's located in the communities of Hillhurst and Sunnyside, immediately north of downtown and the Bow River. It's easily reached by most of the city's major access routes. Route? The Calgary Sea Train, that's our electric streetcar train thingy, trolley, tram. Light rail transit system runs through the Kensington area via Sunnyside Station. Station is located between okay, great. It's a lively area with many independent shops, restaurants, and pubs. Christmas in Kensington Village in December, and the Sun and Salsa Festival in July, as well as the Bazaar Bikes and Bazaar in May. That's a new one on me. Never heard of that one. Anyway, here we go. Here's the meat and potatoes. Here's the turkey with mashed potatoes and gravy, the history. The surrounding Hillhurst area was owned by the Canadian Pacific. Well, what do you know? The CP Rail. And pioneer rancher Ezra Riley. Oh. At the beginning of the 20th century, when Riley Park was used for a horse pasture. The oldest commercial building still standing to date from before the WW1. Well, what do you know? Yada yada. Popularity with the city of Calgary, Kensington is an area that houses 200 unique businesses and services, in addition to a significant number of historical sites. This makes Kensington both a popular inner city district for many local Calgarians, as well as popular destination for shopping and accessing trendy and niche services within the city. Much of this popularity is generated not only by the shops and services, but by the popular and trendy restaurants that are situated. Yeah, true. So there you go. A quick and dirty here on the Kensington. Didn't really give us much information except for it was owned by the railroad at one point, and then this Ezra Riley guy that now Riley Park's named after. And of course, like out here, oh, that was just horse pasture. That was just leased land that they would lease to ranchers for graze land for horses or cattle. There was nothing out here. Nothing out here. Right. You don't say. I think I have one more here real quick that gives us a little bit of more detailed. We'll have a look at that real quick. And then we'll drop the little guy down on the maps on the goggle machine. And we'll have a look at the exact location of the meetup. And I'll share that, on the channel moving forward before next weekend, of course. This is a PDF file that I found, static1squarespace.com. It's a Kensington walking tour. Sunnyside, Hillhurst, and West Hillhurst are some of Calgary's older communities, each of them having homesteads dating back to the 1880s and incorporated into Calgary in the early 1900s. Much of today's Hillhurst belonged to Felix McHugh, who homesteaded the land until Ezra Riley would have acquired it. Strange wording. And subsequently sold it to the city in 1904. He also donated 20 acres that would become Riley Park and the St. Barnabas Church. We have looked at St. Barnabas Church, actually, because that's weird. That was quite some time, a couple of years ago now. We've kind of, here on the channel, I've had a couple of boots on the ground sneak peeks in the Kensington area, but I haven't done too much for content there because I was keeping it in a back pocket for a meetup, you see. Anyways, McHugh's name survives as the bluff dividing Sunnyside from Crescent Heights. Yeah, I did a lot of poking around, boots on the ground in Crescent Heights too. In the links below is my location map, courtesy of Cousin Vinny. If you click on my icon there, after you click on the link for that location map, it opens up all the boots on the ground videos that I've done. So I guess Felix McHugh sells it to Ezra Riley, and then Riley sells it to the city, but then also donates an additional 20 acres. It's always some rich guy that donates his land for some reason. Thus, Hillhurst remained largely undeveloped by Calgary despite its annexation in 1907 until after WW2, where the neighborhood saw rapid development of victory homes, starter homes built for returning soldiers. Such West Hillhurst, despite being an inner city community, is sparsely represented on the inventory of evaluated historic resources. Yeah, a lot of it post WW2 bungalow style homes in that area, which is true. Not much in West Hillhurst, but on the Sunnyside part of Kensington, lots of old stuff. And that's where we're going to be walking around and having a look. Anyway, you see stuff like this, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but link below if you want to have a peruse through the PDF file, the article as it were. Again, that's squarespace.com. Link below. All right, so let me open up the goggle machine here and get into the maps. And I'll show you exactly where's going to be having a meetup. But your cousin Vinny can already guess. That's where cousin Vinny and I met up for the very first time. IRL, in real life, eh? So here's that Louise Bridge and the Memorial Drive connector thing they're talking about. Here's where the train runs through. Here's the Bow River. A bunch of smaller islands there. There's a bunch of bike paths and walking paths here. Some of the wooded area a little bit further west has some sort of hiking trails and stuff. This Memorial Drive, they plant a tree for every fallen soldier during the WW1 and 2 and the Korea's wars, as booty boom booms and so on and so forth. Anyway, here's that West Hillhurst they're talking about, which is mostly 50s bungalows. But everything on this side here, especially along the main thoroughfares, there's a lot of old brick and sandstone, one or the other or both. So we're going to be walking along this portion here and this pie shape where they have this Flatiron building. We're walking up and down these two and then down this 10th Street. But the meetup spot is going to be this old fire hall number 6 right here. Let's drop the fellow down. The little yellow guy there. Right here, right on the corner of Memorial Drive and 10th Street Northwest. And we'll be heading down this street and a few of the side streets. And there's plenty of places to have a bite to eat. Maybe have a, wobbly pop or two. But yeah, we'll definitely grab a coffee and a donut or a coffee and a muffin or something, and then have a little bit of a walk around and take a break, have something to eat, and then finish off the tour. So there it is in Kensington, meeting at the old fire hall number 6, right on the corner, 10th Street and Memorial Drive Northwest. So again, if you live in Calgary, if you're a local, or if you're close to the Calgary area or think you're going to be in the Calgary area, next Sunday, October the 19th, high noon, meeting for meetup and mudflood walkabout tour of Kensington. The old fire station number 6 on the corner of Memorial Drive, 10th Street Northwest. Morgan's here. Good to see you, Morgan. Actually, getting ready to wind her down shortly, but not just yet. You're totally in time for the Q&A. The Q&A portion of the show. Top half of the show, we discussed Canadian Thanksgiving, or like I said before, we just call it Thanksgiving. Columbus Day in the U.S., 200 subscriber. Thank you very, very much. Looked at some shenanigans, sort of in the headlines when it comes to discovering some buried stuff underneath old. This was already like 300 years old, we thought, but there's stuff older under it, all buried in mud and whatever. Had a look at some of that shenanigans. And I just finished talking about the meetup for next weekend, so you didn't miss too much there. Just the Q&A portion here. Anybody has any questions, just let me know in the chat, in the box. Hillhurst does sound kind of fancy, doesn't it, Baja? Hillhurst sounds kind of fancy, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Hippie. Yep, there's the link for the location map, courtesy of Cousin Vinny. Well, yeah, it's tough. Kathy Broughton says the commies in Canada land don't allow pew-pews. Yeah. If you're a big game hunter, like I am, it's a little easier, especially if you've been doing it for a while. But yeah, it's definitely a bunch of hoops and garbage and red tape, all kinds of, well, let's face it, all kinds of shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
You know, so why are they making it so tough to, you know, be an outdoor sportsman and go deer hunting or elk hunting or moose or whatever, even just grouse or, you know, pheasant or turkey or duck or goose. It's just busting your balls, you know. I don't understand why it has to be so hard. It wasn't that long ago it was this hard. I don't get it.
No questions, damn it. No questions.
Is what it is. Good point. Baja says androids do the most listening, but they all do it. Yeah. I watch YouTube videos from channels that tell you how to shut off the, because it's stuff that's just, it comes with your phone and it's always running in the background, but you can go into these special things in your settings, turn that stuff off. I've watched multiple different channels and it's all the same thing. So it seems to work. You know what I've noticed is when I'm sitting talking to my bro or someone else about something, I don't get a commercial for it later on like I used to, which always gave me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, by the way, another thing coming up here on the channel is Chris, Old World Exploration. He and I are going to be getting together, and we're going to do a live watch party of Reset 1700. And then afterwards, we're going to have a discussion about it. And so we as always, invite all of you to join us for that. I'll put the date up later on. There'll be notifications for all of that, both on my channel and on Chris's channel, Old World Exploration. So yeah, it would be great if you could come by, join us for that. And if you have any questions for that as well. That's the tough part. Jesse Nick's saying you have to eat farm-raised meat with all those antibiotics in them. That's exactly what it is. What? You're going to eat venison? Nope. Got to eat all our weirdo chickens and pork and beef, even the fish, you know, a lot of farm-raised fish. It's kind of weirdo fish. That's why I like to go fishing. But there are some local grocery stores that provide local produce and local meat. And there are some local beef processors, for lack of a better term, that have naturally raised beef. Of course, it is what it is. Same with the chicken and all that other stuff. You can usually get chicken and goose from the Hutterites here, actually. And it's all naturally organic, no growth hormones, no antibiotics, none of that weirdo pokey stuff. You know, the hokey pokey, the real hokey pokey. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, Vaughn. Yeah, eat your pharmaceuticals like a good little boy. Yeah. Even to get a fishing license is a pain in the rear end. The Hutterites? The Hutterites. They're like Amish, sort of. But unlike the Amish, they've accepted technology because they have the most modern farming equipment. But they're Russian and German or Prussian. It's kind of a mishmash. And they live in these communal, massive farming communes. Yeah, Kind of like Amish, but with the technology, though, instead of the horse and buggy. Like when the Hutterites come into town, they're driving the latest and greatest, biggest pickup truck, diesel pickup truck with the extended cab on it, and, you know, all the bells and whistles. Their tractors and combines and all of their harvesting equipment. You know, speaking of Thanksgiving and Harvest Festival, you know, all the threshers and bup all down the line of their farming equipment is all top-notch, best of the best. But they are religious. They're a Christian, Protestant Christian sect. They come into town once in a while. They buy fabric because they make their own clothing. I think they buy shoes, though, store-bought shoes. I don't think they go so far as having a shoe cobbler in the commune, in the community. Shakers in Kentucky, eh? Okay. Yeah, kind of like Quakers. Snake handlers in North Georgia. Really? Wow. Snake handlers, eh? That's a different level. But that's how it is. That's how it is. You know, there's a lot of snake charming and snake handling going on. They do that in India and in the in Pakistan and all of that. It's not something I would try, but hey, if that's what you're going to do, more power to you. You know, I don't suggest it. Let's put it that way. I don't suggest it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I say that, this is what I picture, though.
Faith in me! All right. Bitch, I could do this forever. These states love me. God damn it! Fucking son of a fuck! Oh, the fucking...
That's enough. Oh, he's got a poop mouth. He's got a poop mouth. Now you're talking. Yeah, go out hiking and camping, looking for Sasquatch. Just be careful you don't turn into one of those Sasquatch nut jobs online. You know what I'm saying? Where every shadow or every beaver or bear poking its head up behind a stump, there he is, there's a squatch. And they start hooting and hollering and beating a stick against the side of a tree. Like, settle down now there, bud. Settle down. Stephanie, Babylon Fox in the box says, the goggle machine says the Hutterites are very fertile. They have a lot of children, if you want to put it that way, yeah. I don't know if there's any kind of polygamy there going on or not. I'm not sure. I don't think so. There is a marrying off of daughter to another Hutterite community or son into off to a different Hutterite community. You know. Yeah, I mean, I would, you know, yeah, you definitely would get the poop mouth if a snake bit you. You know, the evil son of a bitch serpent. Yikes. So if you're just joining me, Frankie here, New West Reset Live, episode 140, Canadian Thanksgiving. And a big thank you to 200 subscriber live stream here. A little bit of a Q&A. We had a look at some shenanigans as well. And next Sunday, prior to the live show, going to have a meetup Sunday, October the 19th in Kensington. Meet up on a mudflood walkabout tour of old-timey Kensington there. High noon, meeting up at the old fire hall number 6. In the corner of Memorial Drive and 10th Street Northwest. I'm going to be there. Cousin Vinny's going to be there. If you're going to be in the area, let me know via email or any of the other links below of how you can get a hold of a guy. grab a coffee and a donut or something, eh? We'll walk around and look at some stuff, take some video, check some stuff out, look for some evidence of mudflood windows or strange out of time narrative architectural details, stuff that doesn't fit the narrative, of the Wild West cow town out here in the prairies that is Calgary, Alberta. So yeah, if you're going to be in town or you live in town, I'd love to meet up. We'll hang out and we'll check it out. Scrolling through the chat here. Yeah, see, there you go. Channel 53 says, I live a mile from a farmer's market. Got lucky on that. Yeah, we actually have one here in the summer only, though. Summer only, but we have a farmer's market in Sonalta Park, which is 2.5 blocks from my place. But there is a farmer's market at the Crossroads. Not that Crossroads, not the Robert John. That's a long way to go for some cucumbers and lettuce and carrots. But anyway, the Crossroads Flea Market has a farmer's market. It's outdoor in the summer and indoor, year round, basically. It's local stuff that's seasonal, but then, they do have some stuff that's brought in that's, I think, from Washington, Oregon, maybe California, and of course, British Columbia. But in the summer, they don't really have to. They bring in berries from British Columbia, but everything else, like all the corn and vegetables, it's all local stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. You got to do it. You got to do what you can. Go fishing, get a fishing license, learn how to fish. Whether it's fly fishing or angling, or maybe you got a canoe or a kayak. John 53 said, I used to dream about snakes a lot for years. Glad that stopped. Kathy says, that's creepy. Says, yeah, it really was when I was a kid. Oof, yeah. I used to have a recurring nightmare when I was a kid about a witch that living in our basement. It was terrifying to me. I don't know why. Very, very stereotypical witch, Halloween witch, Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch of the West type witch. Right? That poor lady. Fine actor, but man, she got burned and all of that. All kinds of crazy stuff happened to her. Yeah, I had a dream that my dad and my uncles were trying to hang a witch by the neck from the rafters in the basement. And her neck kept stretching and she wouldn't, she couldn't be deleted. She couldn't be unalived, if you will. It was pretty scary. With the cackle and the whole bit, pointed hats and all of that. Yeah, I had that. It would reoccur, I wouldn't say every night, but a couple times a week for quite a few months. Can't even remember what caused it and what made it go away. I probably just got distracted by something else. I grew up in the 70s, so there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Speaking of Bigfoot, there was that. There was the whole, of course, Egyptian pyramids thing. There was UFOs and aliens thing, Bermuda Triangle stuff, Loch Ness Monster, all the crazy cryptid stuff, all of them shits. All the movies that I watched too in the 70s and early 80s, once video stores started popping up and you could rent older movies from the 70s that you were too young to see in the theater. It was all sort of paranormal stuff and Egyptian stuff and Mayan stuff and all of that. All that stuff that was weird. Vaughan says, I want to find that lost dark media of Sesame Street with the real Witch of the West that got banned. Really? I don't remember that. So the lady that played their role in The Wizard of Oz was a guest on Sesame Street. I know that that actress appeared as herself, but also as she donned the costume and did the voice of the Wicked Witch of the West character from The Wizard of Oz on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. She was a guest on Mr. Rogers. Never watched Sesame Street? Oh, really, hey? It's kind of a big thing. At least for me and our household and a lot of my friends, Sesame Street was huge. Muppets in general, Muppet Show, Sesame Street. I mean, yeah, they're early indoctrination programming, but especially because Sesame Street was partially public funded, so it was public broadcasting. Here in Canada, a lot of the kid shows were on the CBC, which was our government funded indoctrination television, right? Where the taxpayers' own money is paid for their own brainwashing. Zoom, yeah, I remember Zoom. Zoom was a crazy show. I liked the Canadian shows were Mr. Dress Up, which was kind of like a Mr. Rogers, but he would do a lot of sketching on his drawing board, and he had a big trunk that he had costumes in, and he'd dress up and sing, and he had puppets and stuff. It was all right. It was pretty good. The crazy cartoons are the weirdest, though. The kid shows are very strange, looking back, especially stuff from the late 60s through to the mid to late 70s. A lot of it was really weird, and sometimes it's creepy and off-putting, just because the puppets are so, let's face it, a lot of them are crappy. Not Sesame Street, not the Jim Henson stuff, but some of the, local public broadcasting kid shows, filmed in like, I don't know, Skedawandish, Saskatchewan or something, I don't know. You're just like, ooh, that's frightening. But the cartoons are even weirder. At least the Canadian cartoons. We had stuff like Rocket Robin Hood. It was Robin Hood, but it was set off in the far future, and he could fly around on jetpacks. But they're still like the evil sheriff of Nottingham and all of that. It was, and Little John and Will Scarlet and the whole band of merry men, Friar Tuck and whatnot. It was weird. Weird, man. Yeah, Gumby. That's right, Gumby and Pokey and Prickle and all of them. Hiya, Gumby. Mr. Rogers, yeah. Even as a kid, though, I kind of felt like Fred Rogers was talking down to me a little bit. Like, hi, boys and girls. Like, why are you talking to me like, I've got the tism. Like, just talk to me normally. It's fine. But I guess, a broader age range, right? 2 to 12 instead of, 6 to 10 maybe, or 6 to 12. I don't know. Age group. I don't know. Morgan says there was heavy indoctrination in the early 80s, late 70s. She even saw the original Witch the Witch. She just played the character a bit from the movie. It's wicked because she was Oscar. Love the witch, though, because she was wicked. Oh, yeah, Oscar the Grouch. Okay. Of course, Oscar would have loved her. Poor Grouch. Even Sesame Street has a homeless guy, I guess. Cyril Nilmil. Howdy, howdy. Good to see ya. Where are we at here? Coming up on the 2-hour mark. Getting ready to wind the show down here. Stuff Beagle's going live at the top of the hour here, so in just shy of 9 minutes. So again, as a reminder, next Sunday before the live show, an in-person meetup in Kensington on the corner of 10th Street and Memorial Drive Northwest at high noon. Old Fire Station number 6. We'll do a mud flood walkabout of old-timey Kensington. Hillhurst, basically. It's about 3 or 4-ish old streets there with some old buildings. Some of them are starting to disappear. Some of them are already gone. So we got to get it while it getting's good. I'll be taking some video. Would love to meet you if you're in the area or if you're local. Reach out, let me know via email, link below. I'll bring some t-shirts. We'll grab a coffee and a donut or something like that, eh? We'll have a look around. Then we'll have a bite to eat, to take a break. Maybe have a wobbly pop or something. Would love for you to join me. Cousin Vinny's going to be there. I'll be there. So let me know down below. Boop. Of course, speaking of down below, everything we covered is in the description below as well. And again, my location map, PayPal, BitChute, Rumble, and of course, email. So before I go here, see if I've got any. I like to leave her off with something kind of funny here. See if I've got anything. Hey, Turtle, if you're still in the chat, if you're still listening, is it okay if I share that video you sent of your cat? Oh, there's a siren in the background. Great, of course. Meantime, let's see how the grandmothers are doing preparing the Thanksgiving feast here once again. Let's just check in on Nona, Grandma, and Grandma, and Nana. It's the screaming. Hurry up! Hurry up! Come on, man. Title says yes. All right, cool, groovy. Yeah, I thought this was cute. Thanks for sending it my way, by the way. I thought it was really cute. This is Turtle's cat, just transfixed upon my live stream from a couple of weeks ago. The organization has supported agriculture in the region for more than 125 years. It first grew international attention in 1912 in the state. It's pretty cute. I'm not going to lie, that's pretty cute. Thanks for that title. Sheesh. Hey, I kind of wish I had cat-sized t-shirts now. But anyway. With that said, I think that's going to seal the deal here for Frankie. New West Reset and New West Reset Live, episode 140. Canadian Thanksgiving, and a big thank you to all of you. 200 subscriber live stream. We looked at some shenanigans, had a little bit of a Q&A. Don't forget, keep your peepers peeled here onto the channel for upcoming announcements as we get closer to the meetup. I'll send out a couple of reminders. So until then, that is going to do it. Take care out there. Have yourselves a good one. We'll see you on the next one, all right? Cheers. Bye.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.